Welcome to our channel. Lots of summaries of interesting films. Keep it updated. Press subscribe and turn on notifications. To support us, you can like and share our videos. Enjoy watching.
January 12, 2011, at a satellite repair facility, an astronaut crew under the direction of Commander Jocinda, Fowler is performing maintenance. Astronaut Brian Harper, a friend of Joe, discovers an odd swarm of nanotech beings approaching them. A satellite is struck by the swarm. Alan Marcus and another astronaut are lost despite Brian's efforts to save them as he is thrown back by the swarm. Brian is able to reach Joe's ship and sail them back to Earth. After his claims that the swarm was attacking NASA were dismissed as crazy talk 18 months later, Brian lost his reputation with NASA. His relationship with Joe deteriorates, and he ends up divorcing Brenda, his wife. Sonny grows apart from his father after she goes to Jersey with them. Mega developer K.C. Houseman goes into the University of California 10 years later to get data on strange moon activity. The unusual readings from the moon's orbital track are confirmed when he reports to work at his regular employment at a fast food restaurant. Later on, K.C. visits his Alzheimer's patient mother Elaine. Joe is still employed by NASA, but she and her ex-husband, General Douglas Davidson, are now divorced. Jimmy's parents share custody of him, and Joe also homes Michelle, a foreign exchange student who also looks after Jimmy. Joe learns about the weird moon activity at work. Casey poses as Brian because he was asked to speak at a museum field trip for the class. When Brian finally arrives, Casey makes an attempt to offer his readings and information about the moon approaching Earth. Brian rejects him and has security remove Casey, but not before Casey has thrown his material for Brian to read. While Brenda has remarried Tom Lopez and has 2 daughters with him, Nikki and Lauren, Brian now lives alone. Brenda contacts Brian because she saw Sonny being pursued by the cops on the TV. After being detained, Brian tries to attend Sonny's bail hearing, but the court delays it for a week due to Brian's interruptions and the lawyers remark that money is no object. As a result, Sonny must spend that time in custody. News of the moon leaving its orbit spreads as Brian tries to buy the judge's release for Sonny. The moon will begin to disintegrate in less than 3 weeks, according to Joe's co-workers, sending material the size of cities flying across the planet. To examine the incident on the moon, NASA arranges a shuttle launch with a 3-person crew. When the astronauts come into contact with the swarm, it surrounds the shuttle before invading and killing the crew, as witnessed back at NASA. Around the world, violence and looting break out as panic sets in. Soon after, California is struck by a tsunami, and when Casey is washed away by the waves, Brian must rescue him. Joe searches through the old NASA archives and discovers helmet cam footage from Brian's suit during the first unsuccessful trip after studying the shuttle film and seeing a hole carved into a crater floor. She is discovered by a man named Holden Field who works in the archives and claims that NASA is hiding information concerning the 1969 lunar landing. Joe is brought in to meet Casey and Brian as she tries to assemble a crew for a second trip. Brian is still upset with Joe since he feels like she threw him under the bus after their previous expedition. In order to try and launch the shuttle into orbit, they borrow a shuttle from a museum after learning about an EMP that was designed to destroy the swarm. Brian makes arrangements for Sonny to be released from jail so that he can visit Brenda and her family at Tom's cabin in Colorado before the assignment is assigned. As they travel there, Jimmy, Michelle, and he join them. Another tragedy is likely to strike, so Joe and Brian move swiftly to launch the expedition, inviting Casey to join them because he is more knowledgeable about megastructures than they are. They all get on the shuttle as a massive ocean wave is moving toward the city due to a gravitational anomaly. Just as the water is about to touch them, the crew launches. On the way to Colorado, Sonny and Michelle become close, and Sonny tells Doug that Jimmy is okay. They are forced to walk after being robbed by a group of 3 criminals as they are on their way. Michelle hangs on to Jimmy as they are lifted into the air by another gravitational shift. When they finally arrive at Tom's house, a crazed woman with a gun opens fire on them because she believes they are intruders. The trio arrives at the moon in orbit and discovers the swarm surrounding it. They set the bomb in a position where the swarm can grab it, but they see that it doesn't touch it. The swarm keeps attacking their shuttle until their electronics are taken out. The crew discovers that the swarm is purposefully staying away from electronics. Joe thinks there are 2 distinct entities on the moon, and one of them is attempting to assist the others. The group arrives at the moon's base, where Brian is greeted by the operating system of the moon, which appears to be Sonny as a little boy speaking to him. According to the OS, the swarm is an artificial intelligence developed by prehistoric humans. Before establishing a base on the moon and relying on the energy of a white dwarf in the core, the swarm developed a mind of its own, killed its creators, and began to feed on them. The internal structure has become unstable, which has caused the moon to change its orbit. The OS informs Brian that a human must remain behind in order to overthrow the AI. Sunny, Michelle, and Jimmy return to Earth and join Tom and his family as they escape. The earlier robbers attempt to rob them, but Sunny and Tom repel them with their firearms. The criminals try to run them off the road by pursuing them as they try to flee in their car. After that, the moon generates another gravitational shift as pieces of the Earth's mass start to separate from the surface. The gang's commander is crushed by rubble, and as Sunny drives off a ramp to safety, the other two robbers smash their car into a piece of mass. Meanwhile, in a desperate attempt to save everyone, the President of the United States orders nuclear weapons to be fired at the moon. As the air begins to get thin, Sunny, Tom, and the others put on oxygen masks and move to a cave for protection. Tom lends Nikki his oxygen tank when she runs out of it. He encourages Nikki to just keep going as he begins to gasp for air and pass out. The oxygen starts to return as Nikki finds her family, so Sunny and Michelle try to go look for Tom, but Sunny is knocked to the ground by a fallen tree, which pins him down. One final attempt is made by the trio on the moon to deliver the bomb to the swarm. Doug threatens his colleagues with a gun to stop them from destroying the moon because he still has hope that Joe can save them. Brian tries to give himself up to stay behind and deliver the bomb as the group approaches it, but Casey steps in to take his place. While he has the chance to finally do something in his life, he believes that Brian and Joe have families to return to. Brian and Joe wish him farewell as the swarm encircles Casey's pod and surrounds him before Casey explodes the bomb. Destroying the swarm and returning the moon to its proper place, Brian and Joe are close enough to the Earth to fly out on a pod. Brian and Joe succeed in getting back to their family. After hearing about Tom's demise, Brian informs Brenda that he was a wonderful man. Sunny is also informed that Casey has saved the planet. Casey's consciousness gets uploaded to the base back on the moon. The operating system, which resembles his mother, introduces itself to him. Casey is informed that a significant project is about to begin.